Today's special unit was voted most likely to appear in an SC2 highlights video and is usually accompanied by either a shouting caster or an expression of surprise. It's the Disruptor. The Disruptor is a specialist unit, a spellcaster with no energy. I honestly can't think of a unit that has more potential to swing the favor of a ground fight as quickly as these guys can. They are built from a robotics facility, but require the presence of a robotics bay. Before I talk about their interesting attack, their basic stats. Production cost of 150, build time of 36 seconds, 100 health, 100 shields, 1 base armor, and they are classified as armored. Now for the good stuff. You may notice that the Disruptor does not have an attack. That is because all of their damage comes from their single ability, Purification Nova. Purification Nova is a ground-targeted ability with a 21.4 second cooldown. Once your target location is selected, the Disruptor will send out a ball of energy towards that target area. While the energy ball is active, you can select it and issue move commands in an effort to try and maximize the attack's value. After 2.1 seconds, the ball of energy will explode at its current location, dealing 145 plus 55 versus shields damage to all ground units or structures in the ball's area, except for friendly disruptors. Yes, you will roast your own units, other than disruptors, into oblivion. It should be noted that while the energy ball is active, the firing Disruptor cannot move. If the Disruptor is killed while the energy ball is active, the ball is destroyed, thus nullifying the attack. So it's a good idea to keep some forces nearby to protect your Disruptors. Now let's talk about usage. The core reason that one would build Disruptors is to fill a splash damage role. Compared to Colossi and Psystorms, the Disruptors deal a tremendous amount of damage very quickly. They excel versus targets that have little to no mobility, and units that tend to group up tightly. So they're great versus things like siege tanks, lurkers, archons, queens, etc. Since the Disruptor does not have a basic attack, it is recommended that you keep any on a control group that is separate from your main army. You don't want them just walking into their own demise. Identify where the enemy units are, get your Disruptors within range, and then let the Novas fly. If necessary, you can select the Nova to move it around and keep your target within the circle. As a side note, I would not recommend this for newer players due to the micro requirements, but I have seen sentries pair surprisingly well with Disruptors. Throw out a few force fields to corral enemy forces, and you can potentially make it easier to nail the Disruptor shot. Generally speaking, Disruptors excel when the opponent has slow reaction time or poor split micro potential. Couple this with the fact that they only hit ground units, and we have 3 major avenues for counterplay. The first is to split and move your units around to avoid the Disruptor's attack. The second choice is to outright kill the Disruptor before the attack completes, or 3, get some air units to completely avoid the situation. Since you technically can beat Disruptors with any anti-ground unit and good micro, the faction-specific counters that I'm about to discuss are more like units that I find particularly helpful. Terran players, I know you're sitting there saying, "Ooh, bio split micro. Don't worry, I've got this." The only kind of bio split I'm going to recommend you do is splitting up your army to hit multiple locations, and even that is just a band-aid. But if you can find a location without any disruptors, hey, go get them. A more reliable answer is to go into Liberators. As a relatively long-range, air-to-ground siege unit, they are perfect for zoning away disruptors or strengthening a push. Protoss's Blink Stalker plus Disruptor is a staple composition for most PvP matches. Blink Stalkers are already a fantastic option for the micro-inclined, but there are plenty of alternatives out there. As has been discussed, Disruptors suffer when they're up against air units. I know you just got excited and you said, Void Rays. No, you're better than that. Carriers are a natural step towards the PvP late game and will work well. However, allow me to introduce you to this fine romantic gentleman, the Phoenix. With the ability to literally, instantly sweep any enemy ground unit off of its feet, the Phoenix can cancel the Disruptor's attack. Yeah, you heard me.
With honor, the skies await. We are one.
Zerg lovers, Disruptors decimate most of the mid-game staple units we know and love like Roaches, Ravagers, and Queens. Luckily, most other tech options work well. If the Disruptor is the only source of splash damage, you can consider bullying them with a flood of Zerglings, but let's also talk about air units. Mutalisks crush everything from the Robo, but they die to essentially everything else, and controlling the Mutas themselves is a struggle if your APM is below Serral levels. If you have the time, going up into Broodlords is supremely awesome. My personal favorite choice is the Viper. The Viper's abduct ability is key here, because similarly to the Phoenix's lift ability, it will interrupt the Disruptor's attack. Simply yoink the Disruptor of your choice to increase both the happiness and longevity of your Roaches and your Hydralisks. Do you prefer Disruptors over the other splash damage options, such as Colossi or Psystorm? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.